Hey folks, I'm Dr. Mike for Renaissance Periodization, and today's weekly tip is the use of whole foot force production in quadriceps training. What's that? You may ask at home, young viewer, and I will tell you. Check this out. Foot positioning on pressing movements during quad training. So leg extensions, whatever. By the way, bonus tip, the which way you turn your feet on leg extension potentially either matters not at all or so little for quad training that if you think about it at all, you could be thinking about like, when are aliens going to attack? And that'd probably be a better use of your time. As a matter of fact, do you have an aliens attack plan? If you do, you're stupid, because if aliens could travel intergalactically and attack us, it doesn't matter. We already lost the war. But I'll tell you about that in other videos where I go off on tangents. For now, whole foot force production in pressing movements for quad training, which means hack squats, leg presses, lever squats, and of course, good old squats themselves. If you push off only your toes, which people do every now and again, you see that at a Planet Fitness, you're like, oh, what's that? Like pushing off only your toes or even mostly your toes where you don't really feel the heel. Unfortunately, something you might have to do if a leg press is designed really crappily, which most of them are, unless you're Arsenal Strength and a few other companies, you're probably producing dog shit leg presses anyway. And supporting this, if you push off only your toes during quad training, you reduce your stability of the movement, which reduces the forces generated by and experienced by the quadriceps, and thus per every repetition, you get probably less muscle growth. Now, you may say, I'm smarter than that. Dr. Mike, I press off of my heels. Like, these are feet, by the way, today. I would put my feet up, but they're disgusting. Thanks, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. If you push off of only your heels, it is better than just pushing off your toes. However, you still don't get maximum stability. You still don't maximize quadricep forces. And as a matter of fact, pushing off your heels can engage the glutes a little bit more preferentially than otherwise, which isn't a bad thing for the glutes. That's sweet, but not exactly what you want because you're literally doing it for quads. And you also grow probably less muscle per repetition. So if you push off, you on the plate, here's the plate, here's your foot, you push off of your toes and your heels full force for the whole foot, you produce the highest forces, you very likely stimulate the most amount of growth, and it's probably a safer movement because of the enhanced stability and no biasing towards one side of the leg or the other, and everything is good. Now, how can you make sure you're pressing off of the whole foot? You have to experiment where on the plate for the hack squat and leg press, where on the platform you're putting your feet. You might even have to put them out or in a little bit more, because sometimes if your feet are really far in, it's all on your toes or it's all on your heels. You put them out, it actually distributes the force better. Sometimes you have to turn your feet out or turn your feet a little bit more straight. Again, something you have to experiment with. And I highly, highly, highly recommend weightlifting shoes. What kind of shoes, Dr. Mike? Which ones are the best? Doesn't fucking matter. You can get them shoes from China, the Do-Wins or some shit. No offense to that company, but they're like $1 or some shit. I don't know who the fuck makes them, but I know they have a steady day job. JK, that's a harsh joke. In any case, even if they're like whatever, $50, they're golden, they're going to work, and you can throw them away after a year, or you can buy more expensive shoes that last for 3 years and cost triple that. Either way, I wear a shoe called the Adidas Ironwork 2. Don't bother looking for it. I'm from like the 1970s and they stopped production in 1955. Good luck finding them. Anything Adidas makes is really sweet. As long as it has a really hard heel and transitions smoothly into the toe, a weightlifting shoe will revolutionize your quad training. I'm not paid by anyone to say that. As a matter of fact, nobody pays me at all. If you ever encounter Mr. Nick Shaw, CEO of Renaissance Periodization, you tell him I'm hungry and rent is due, and I don't know what to do for money. In any case, have fun experimenting, take your time, make sure your back isn't rounding a ton if you're trying to put your feet up a little too high on the platform. So there has to be a balance between getting the foot firm and making sure your lower back is nice and tucked. If you do that, hack squats, leg presses, lever squats, etc., turn into magical movements that give you big quads. And at the end of the day, big quads are like more magical than anything else. I watched all 3 of the Lord of the Rings movies. They're fine movies, are some of my favorites, but it's not quite as good as having big quads. So Saruman, motherfucker, you're the same person to me, by the way. Quad flex. Boom. How about that? Lord of the Rings right there. Folks, I'm going to see myself out. My jokes are no longer funny. Peace. Next week.